Now that you have covered all of the bones and bone features of the upper and lower appendages, I want to talk a little bit about study skills. So you are expected to be able to, upon being shown a bone, being able to identify all the bone features, as I am going to do now. You should be able to, number one, identify this as the humerus, and then know that this is the head of the humerus, that this is the greater tubercle, this is the lesser tubercle, that this is the tibial tuberosity, that this is the coronoid fossa, that this is the medial epicondyle, and that the lateral epicondyle, and then finally that this is the olecranon fossa. How do you do that? Well, you need to be able to see these bones fitting together in your head, in your mind's eye. The way to do that is to study them just like I suggested, starting at the girdle and working your way down to the distal end. Don't try to study all these bones and bone features at one sitting. Start with maybe just the clavicle and the scapula, right? Just going over the bones and bone features of the clavicle by itself. And then studying the bones and bone features of the scapula, and then going back to the clavicle. And then after you're able to identify the bones and bone features of the clavicle and the scapula by themselves, then add in maybe part of the humerus, maybe just the proximal portion. And then going back and say, okay, once I've got the proximal portion of the humerus, let me go back and review the bones of and bone features of the scapula and of the clavicle, and just do those for a while. And then after you've mastered that, then add the distal end of the humerus and review the previous features of the scapula and the clavicle, and then add maybe just the ulna. But whenever you go over new information, before you move on, you always go back and review from the previous bones. If you do that, that repetition, we learn by repetition. If you do that over and over again, you'll be able to learn all these bones and bone features. You'll see these bones in your mind's eye, and you do the same thing with the lower appendages. That is the way to master this content.